Every era of mobility has its icons, the machines that do not just move people but move ideas forward. Some were born from pure innovation, others from a blend of nostalgia and ambition. They arrive at the crossroads of culture, where technology meets desire, where design becomes a statement, and where sound and motion merge into emotion. This story is about one such machine that takes a familiar silhouette and redefines what it means to look back while racing ahead. It is about the pursuit of classic beauty meeting modern capability, about how style can be engineered to perform as much as it inspires. And for those who think scooters are merely for getting from one block to another, this one challenges that idea completely. Because sometimes, what turns heads on the street is not just about speed or power, it is about personality. Today, we explore how timeless racing spirit found a new expression in a modern age. If you love stories of design evolution, performance heritage, and cultural influence, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments what machine you want us to cover next. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 enters the frame as both a throwback and a forward step, a scooter that takes a deep breath of history and exhales it into modern streets. To understand its story, we have to go back to what Vespa has always meant in the world of two wheels. Born from post-war necessity, Vespa became a symbol of freedom. It was never just transportation. Over the decades, it turned into a cultural shorthand for elegance, romance, and a certain kind of European cool. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 takes that legacy and applies a focused twist, drawing on the golden age of racing, when sleek fairings and bold stripes mark machines built to compete, not just commute. This model's design inspiration comes straight from 1960s racing liveries. The gold pinstriping against the matte green or white paint schemes is not accidental, it is a direct homage to the endurance racers of that decade. Every curve and detail pays tribute to the mechanical grace of a time when performance and aesthetics shared equal billing. But while the look is retro, the mechanics are anything but dated. The 155 cubic centimeters I-Get engine sitting beneath the seat is a modern, fuel-injected unit that delivers smooth, reliable torque with impressive efficiency. It is designed to meet modern emission standards while keeping the lively response that Vespa riders expect. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 also benefits from technological refinement. Vespa's engineers added advanced components such as front-wheel ABS braking and a sophisticated suspension setup. The combination delivers stability and confidence even in tight urban conditions. The frame, crafted from steel Monaco construction, gives it rigidity and resilience without excessive weight. This is not a scooter built just for looks, it is a practical performer that feels composed and premium in motion. But design and engineering only tell half the story. The deeper appeal of this machine lies in what it represents. In a market dominated by electric newcomers and aggressive sport bikes, the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 takes a different path. It is not chasing raw horsepower figures or extreme aerodynamics. Instead, it captures attention by embodying character. It reminds riders that the soul of mobility can still be wrapped in elegance, that a scooter can evoke the same passion as a vintage sports car, only in smaller, more approachable form. For many owners, this Vespa is not the first step into riding but a return. People who once loved motorcycles but now seek something refined, lighter, and more connected to lifestyle than adrenaline often find themselves drawn to this model. The Racing 60s Edition is both a memory and a modern statement, appealing to those who appreciate craftsmanship as much as motion. It stands out at cafe corners and seaside roads alike, offering a unique bridge between nostalgia and now. That balance between vintage flavor and technological progress is no accident. Vespa's design team wanted the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 to feel timeless, not old. To achieve that, they study archival racing graphics and proportions, updating them with a modern sense of proportion and finish. The seat's saddle shape, the alloy wheels painted gold, and the minimal use of chrome all contribute to a cohesive, purposeful aesthetic. Each element feels deliberate, giving the scooter a cohesive personality rather than just decoration. When you see it in motion, the visual effect is striking. The lines flow from front to back in a single unbroken gesture, emphasizing speed even when standing still. That visual momentum is a Vespa signature, carried through from the 1940s to today. Yet this model sharpens the effect with compact dimensions and agile stance, giving it the look of a sprinter crouched at the starting line. The modern rider, however, expects more than looks. Comfort, practicality, and connectivity now define ownership satisfaction. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 delivers through smart ergonomics and subtle technology. The riding position is natural, upright, and comfortable for city commutes or weekend cruises. Under the seat, there is space for essentials, while the front glove compartment adds a practical touch. The LED lighting system provides excellent visibility and a crisp, modern glow that suits its premium image. Yet what really defines the experience is how the scooter feels on the road. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 responds instantly to throttle inputs, gliding through traffic with a light yet confident demeanor. The CVT transmission ensures seamless acceleration, and the combination of a low center of gravity with a firm suspension gives precise control. On winding streets or open boulevards, it remains poised, always more elegant than hurried. This emotional experience is what makes the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 stand out. It connects directly to a tradition that few other two-wheel manufacturers can claim: the blending of art and engineering. You are not simply operating a vehicle, you are participating in a lineage of design that has defined generations of riders. Each journey becomes a continuation of that story. In the larger context, this Vespa arrives at an interesting moment. Cities are rethinking mobility, electric vehicles are reshaping expectations, style-conscious riders are looking for something with personality in a sea of sameness. Against that backdrop, the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 feels fresh because it offers a different kind of progress, one that honors design heritage instead of discarding it. From a branding perspective, this model reinforces Vespa's position as more than a manufacturer, it is a cultural symbol. The Racing 60s Edition extends that symbolism into the modern era, proving that tradition and innovation can coexist without contradiction. For younger riders, it becomes a way to express individuality in a world of conformity. For seasoned enthusiasts, it is a nostalgic connection to a time when design was bold and pure. Every generation of Vespa has carried a message about identity. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 continues that dialogue but adds a layer of intent to show that sophistication can still be thrilling. It reminds us that you can stand out without shouting, that power can be expressed through precision and restraint. This scooter embodies that idea perfectly, translating racing heritage into everyday usability. As we continue, we will look deeper into how the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 achieves this delicate balance through engineering choices, design decisions, and cultural resonance. Because behind every elegant line lies a practical reason, behind every performance figure, a philosophy of motion. The next part of this story explores those mechanics of beauty and the subtle ways Vespa integrates innovation with tradition. The aim is not just to appreciate what it looks like, but to understand why it feels the way it does, why it makes people turn their heads and smile as it glides past. Now that we have traced its roots in design intent, it is time to lift the seat, so to speak, and see how this scooter's engineering underpins its unmistakable charm. In the next segment, we explore how the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 turns nostalgic inspiration into modern-day precision. To grasp what makes the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 such a distinctive machine, we need to understand its engineering character. Under its sleek exterior lies a powertrain that reflects Vespa's long history of balancing performance with practicality. The 155 cubic centimeters iGet engine is a single-cylinder, 4-stroke, air-cooled unit that produces around 12 horsepower. Those numbers might sound modest, but within the world of scooters, this configuration delivers an ideal combination of efficiency and responsiveness. It has electronic fuel injection for precise delivery, variable timing for smooth acceleration, and low-friction components that enhance both reliability and refinement. The iGet system, short for Italian Green Experience Technology, represents Vespa's approach to sustainable performance. It was designed to minimize emissions while optimizing fuel consumption, which means this scooter can cover impressive distances on a single tank. The refined exhaust layout and optimized combustion chamber help reduce vibration and noise, contributing to a smooth, almost electric-like glide through traffic. Yet, unlike many small scooters, it retains a satisfying sense of mechanical rhythm. You feel connected to the machine rather than isolated from it. The frame design of the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 continues a hallmark of the brand, a steel monocoque body. Unlike most modern scooters that use tubular frames hidden beneath plastic panels, Vespa integrates the structure and the skin into one. This design provides superior rigidity and durability, creating a stable platform that translates to predictable handling. The solid frame also enhances safety by maintaining integrity under heavy stress or rough conditions. The suspension complements this with a single-sided front fork and dual rear shocks, carefully tuned to balance comfort with responsiveness. Riding the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023, you notice how composed it feels over bumps and corners. The steering remains light, but never nervous, and the weight distribution encourages confident cornering. The wheelbase and seat height strike a balance that suits riders of varying experience levels. On the open road, the scooter maintains an easy cruising rhythm, while in the city it reacts instantly to throttle and brake input. This adaptability reflects Vespa's understanding of urban life, the need for quick agility without sacrificing stability. Stopping power comes from a modern braking system anchored by front-wheel ABS. The anti-lock mechanism ensures that even under sudden braking, the tires maintain grip on wet or uneven surfaces. Paired with a responsive rear drum brake, it gives the rider complete control. Vespa's decision to integrate ABS, rather than rely on link braking alone, speaks to their commitment to safety and precision. In everyday riding, it means fewer surprises and more confidence in unpredictable traffic. What elevates the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 above other scooters in its class, however, is how every component works harmoniously toward a unified feel. The throttle response, suspension travel, and braking balance are calibrated to deliver what can best be described as mechanical grace. Nothing feels rushed or out of tune. It is the mechanical equivalent of jazz improvisation, fluid, expressive, but disciplined. Another modern feature that reinforces its practical appeal is Vespa's attention to ergonomics and technology. The seat is shaped to support longer rides without fatigue, while the controls are intuitive and well-placed. The digital analog instrument cluster combines a traditional speedometer with a small multifunction display, offering trip data, fuel level, and temperature readings. Riders who pair the optional connectivity module can access smartphone functions, navigation cues, and maintenance updates, all without cluttering the dashboard. This approach mirrors a broader shift in modern mobility, technology used with restraint. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 does not overload the rider with digital distractions. Instead, it quietly enhances the experience. It allows the machine's tactile qualities, the vibration of the engine, the sound of the exhaust, the feel of the handlebar, to remain the core of the ride. Aesthetic integration is another cornerstone of Vespa's design philosophy. The Racing 60s Edition in particular shows how the visual and mechanical elements align. The gold wheels are not just decorative, they are lightweight alloys that improve rotational balance. The seat's material has been selected to resist wear and weather while complementing the matte paint finish. Even the positioning of the mirrors and the curvature of the leg shield are designed to reduce drag and direct airflow around the rider. It is subtle aerodynamic refinement, executed with Italian artistry. These choices collectively produce an experience that is more than transportation. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 turns the simple act of commuting into a ritual. Every start of the engine feels like opening a conversation between past and present. Riders often describe how the scooter transforms their perception of pace. On a motorcycle, the focus may be on acceleration or top speed. Here, it is on flow. You navigate the city not as an obstacle course but as a rhythm to match. Part of the genius behind the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 is that it never feels outdated despite its vintage cues. That comes down to Vespa's meticulous engineering. The fuel injection system adjusts automatically to altitude and temperature, the electronic ignition ensures consistent starting, and the lightweight body allows easy maneuvering at low speeds. Maintenance intervals are long, and the build quality has a reputation for longevity. These qualities reinforce the perception that owning a Vespa is less about trend and more about continuity. To understand why Vespa continues to attract both nostalgic riders and newcomers, it helps to recognize its position in the broader scooter landscape. Many manufacturers chase innovation through extremes, ultra-sport performance or futuristic electric minimalism. Vespa chooses refinement instead. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 demonstrates that progress can be elegant, that heritage can coexist with innovation without contradiction. Every part of the machine feels handcrafted for a purpose. Even the paint application process involves multiple stages to achieve the deep matte finish and flawless striping. The gold and green color scheme is a deliberate nod to endurance racers of the 1960s, when form and function shared the same stage. That heritage of competition lives on, not through speed records, but through design discipline. For city riders, the result is a vehicle that feels alive, expressive, and trustworthy. It encourages confidence in tight turns, smooth lane changes, and quick stops. The sound it produces is a quiet hum rather than a roar, reinforcing the impression of sophistication. And perhaps most importantly, it feels approachable. Anyone can admire it, anyone can ride it. That universality is rare in modern mobility. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 also occupies a unique social niche. For younger riders, it represents individuality in a world of shared mobility and uniform design. For older enthusiasts, it reconnects them with the era of mechanical beauty and tactile simplicity. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 is more than an elegant machine. It has become a cultural signal. To understand its full influence, we have to look beyond the engineering and into how it fits into modern life. In an age where mobility is being redefined by electric technology, app-based convenience, and minimalist design, the Racing 60s Edition stands apart as something deeply human. It appeals to emotion as much as logic. People do not just buy it because it gets them to work, they buy it because it says something about who they are. At first glance, its retro color palette and vintage line seem like nostalgia marketing. But that surface charm hides a more meaningful cultural shift. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 represents the re-emergence of individuality in transportation. In large American cities where electric scooters, ride-shares, and bicycles dominate, this Vespa restores the idea that personal vehicles can have personality. It is not about anonymity or efficiency alone. It is about expression. That sense of identity explains why owners often customize them lightly, new grips, small badges, matching helmets, to make the machine feel like an extension of themselves. The scooter's influence extends into fashion and design as well. Brands that focus on heritage and craftsmanship have noticed how Vespa riders mirror their values. You see it in capsule collections and lifestyle imagery where the Racing 60s Edition plays a supporting role. The matte finish, the gold detailing, the understated stance all evoke authenticity. For viewers and passers-by, it becomes shorthand for good taste. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 thus operates as both transportation and accessory, connecting mobility with aesthetics in a way few vehicles do. For many riders, owning one is also a conscious choice against disposable culture. Unlike mass-produced gadgets or seasonal trends, this scooter promises longevity. The steel body, rebuildable engine, and timeless design suggest durability in both physical and stylistic terms. That durability connects emotionally with an audience weary of constant upgrades. Riding this machine becomes an act of resistance against planned obsolescence. It tells the world, quality still matters, and heritage still holds value. There's also a social aspect to its impact. Vespa clubs across America have embraced the Racing 60s edition as a bridge between generations. Older members appreciate its respect for tradition, younger riders celebrate its modern usability. Group rides featuring a mix of classic and contemporary Vespas show how this model unites different eras under one flag of shared passion. In these gatherings, the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 often draws curiosity for how seamlessly it fits among its predecessors, as if it had always belonged. The emotional draw goes further. Riding through a busy downtown or along a quiet coastal road, owners describe how strangers wave, smile, or stop to ask about it. That reaction is not common for scooters. It is something usually reserved for exotic cars or restored classics. The reason is simple: the Racing 60s Edition taps into collective memory. Its form reminds people of movie scenes, European vacations, or childhood dreams. In a way, it makes nostalgia tangible. Yet its success is not only emotional, it also reflects broader lifestyle trends in the United States. Urban millennials and Gen Z professionals are increasingly choosing compact vehicles over cars due to parking constraints and environmental awareness. However, many reject purely utilitarian options. They want mobility that feels personal and premium without being wasteful. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 fits perfectly into that space: sophisticated, efficient, but undeniably stylish. It gives modern riders something often missing in technology-driven mobility: soul. Even in the context of sustainability, the scooter holds its ground. While not electric, its efficient engine and lightweight structure reduce emissions compared to most cars. More importantly, its design encourages longevity and care. A Vespa is rarely discarded. It is maintained, restored, and passed on. That cycle of preservation aligns with the growing emphasis on sustainable ownership. The Racing 60s Edition 2023 turns this principle into a desirable lifestyle rather than an obligation. From a marketing perspective, Vespa's success with this model highlights a masterclass in storytelling. Instead of chasing futuristic concepts, they reinterpreted their own history. By evoking the racing heritage of the 1960s, Vespa connects emotionally across generations. Older audiences remember the golden age of motorsport, younger audiences interpret it as retro chic. Both responses lead to engagement, which is increasingly rare in a fragmented market. The Racing 60s Edition also redefines what a performance scooter means. In popular culture, performance is often equated with aggressiveness or raw power. Vespa flips that script by framing performance as precision, balance, and refinement. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 performs not by intimidating, but by elevating the ride experience to an art form. That quiet confidence resonates with modern consumers seeking authenticity over spectacle. Economically, its success suggests that the American market is opening up to premium small displacement vehicles. Once considered niche, scooters are now finding relevance in metropolitan areas like Los Angeles, Austin, and Miami. Rising fuel costs, parking scarcity, and lifestyle shifts all play a part. The Racing 60s Edition 2023 capitalizes on that momentum, presenting itself as both a practical and aspirational choice. It transforms the idea of urban commuting into something joyful. It also demonstrates that nostalgia can drive innovation when handled with intention. Vespa's designers could have replicated an old model exactly, but they chose reinterpretation over replication. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 feels familiar yet forward-looking, rooted in the past but alive in the present. This creative tension between then and now gives it narrative power. Riders do not just see a product, they see a story they can participate in. That storytelling element extends to social media, where Vespa owners share images of their scooters as lifestyle statements. Each post reinforces the idea that owning one is not about necessity but about belonging to a creative, stylish community. The Racing 60s Edition 2023 appears frequently in urban backdrops, art districts, and scenic coastal shots, subtly reinforcing its aspirational identity. It becomes both content and conversation starter. The cultural impact reaches beyond individual ownership. Municipalities encouraging micromobility see models like the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 as part of a larger movement toward lighter, more efficient transport. When such a scooter appears in public spaces, it reminds observers that urban mobility can be both functional and beautiful. This visual statement challenges the stereotype of scooters as mere budget options, showing that elegance and practicality can coexist. Ultimately, the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 stands as a modern ambassador of design integrity. It bridges art, engineering, and emotion in a way that few vehicles achieve. In doing so, it reinforces a truth that transcends the automotive world: design excellence never goes out of style. It simply evolves. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 closes its circle not just as a product, but as a symbol of what transportation can become when it values identity as much as efficiency. To understand its legacy, we need to consider where mobility is heading. Cities are growing smarter, denser, and more environmentally conscious. The electric revolution is accelerating, reshaping how we think about engines, emissions, and noise. Yet amid this progress, there remains a longing for connection, something tactile, something real. That is where the Racing 60s Edition holds its quiet power. It offers the sensory experience that digital design often removes, reminding us that motion can be personal and expressive, not merely optimized. For Vespa, this model signals confidence in its heritage as a foundation for innovation. By staying true to design integrity and mechanical purity, the brand positions itself as a bridge between classic and future mobility. The Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 becomes a statement that tradition does not need to fade in order to evolve. As the company moves toward electric platforms, lessons from this scooter, craftsmanship, proportion, human-centered detail, will guide that transition. Each future model will carry some echo of this edition's elegance. On the rider's side, its impact is equally strong. Owners often describe how the scooter transforms everyday travel into something intentional. The simple act of starting the engine, feeling the subtle vibration, and rolling through a quiet neighborhood creates mindfulness in motion. It turns commuting into ritual, something to anticipate rather than tolerate. That emotional shift is part of the Vespa philosophy and explains why the Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 resonates beyond performance charts. It appeals to the human side of travel. The cultural implications go further. As society moves toward electric and autonomous vehicles, the idea of personal control will change. Machines will become quieter, smarter, and less dependent on human input. Yet, there will always be a place for vehicles that engage the senses and reward attention. The Racing 60s Edition 2023 represents that enduring niche, where craftsmanship meets emotion, and where driving, or riding, remains an act of personal expression. From a design standpoint, it may influence how future scooters blend analog aesthetics with digital capability. Expect to see its restrained approach mirrored in upcoming models across the industry. Subtle color palettes, timeless geometry, and tangible materials are making a return as consumers grow weary of sterile futurism. The Racing 60s Edition 2023 did not create that movement, but it gave it a face, a stylish, recognizable embodiment of heritage-driven innovation. Economically, it shows that premium design has a secure place in smaller engine segments. In the US, where scooters have often been viewed as secondary to motorcycles, this model challenges perception. It invites consumers to see scooters not as budget alternatives, but as curated experiences. That perception shift could open new opportunities for manufacturers, encouraging them to treat small displacement models with the same respect given to larger bikes. There is also a sustainability lesson here. While electric vehicles capture headlines, longevity is an equally vital component of eco-friendly design. The Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 exemplifies that through quality construction and timeless appeal. When a product is built to last and to remain desirable, it naturally reduces waste. Many Vespas from decades ago are still running today, lovingly restored by their owners. That tradition of preservation stands as a quiet counterpoint to a disposable consumer culture. In the broader context of design history, the Racing 60s Edition reaffirms that progress does not always mean abandoning the past. Innovation can also come from reinterpretation. The fusion of 1960s racing style with 21st century engineering offers a blueprint for how brands can evolve gracefully. Instead of reinventing identity every few years, they can refine it. The result is longevity, consistency, and authenticity, qualities that build trust and admiration. As more cities promote compact, efficient transport, the symbolic presence of machines like the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 becomes increasingly significant. They show that sustainable mobility does not have to look sterile or feel soulless. It can be elegant, aspirational, and even romantic. Riders who choose this scooter are not rejecting modernity, they are redefining it on their own terms. The influence of this model also extends into storytelling. Whether in film, photography, or advertising, it embodies an instantly recognizable energy, sophisticated, approachable, and timelessly cool. It tells a story of freedom without aggression, speed without excess, and design without pretense. That narrative power ensures that even as technology advances, the image of a Vespa gliding through a sunlit street will remain etched in the collective imagination. Ultimately, the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 teaches us that innovation need not erase beauty. It reminds us that craftsmanship still matters, that form and function can coexist peacefully, and that nostalgia can be a forward-looking force when used with purpose. Its continued popularity proves that the human heart responds not only to efficiency, but to elegance, to personality, to stories that move. And so, the legacy of this scooter reaches beyond its engine and design. It lives in every rider who chooses to slow down, appreciate detail, and rediscover joy in movement. In that sense, the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 is not just part of transportation history, it is part of a cultural conversation about how we wish to experience the future, gracefully, consciously, and with style. As we conclude this exploration, we will distill what this model represents for riders, designers, and cities alike. In the final segment, we summarize how the Vespa Sprint 150 Racing 60s Edition 2023 stands as both a celebration of history and a direction for tomorrow's mobility.